Hello friends, I'm Laszlo from Triangle Wave Records, and today I want to talk about how to make sample kits that only use one sample slot in your Digitakt, Octatrack, OP1, any sampler that really has the slicing functionality that you find in, for example, the Digitakt version 1.5. Let's get to it. So the first thing you want to do is, if you're using the Digitakt in particular, you want to create a DAW project that has its sample rate set to 48 kilohertz. That's because that's the sample rate that the Digitakt operates in, and that way you're not relying on the transfer app to do the conversion for you of your sample, and you have more control of the sound quality overall in that way. Once that's done, you want to find 8, 16, 32, or even 64 samples, and you want to place them in your timeline equidistant from each other. So for example, if I have 16 samples and I'm working within a 1-bar section, I would place them as 16th notes and make sure they're all exactly quantized to that value. Here with these drums, for example, I have 16 samples, but I'm working over 2 bars just to get some more release on the samples. And so I place them all as 8th notes essentially, and so they will all play consequently if I press play on the timeline. I did another sample kit or collection of sample within a sample slot where I used piano chords that I set over 4 bars, and these I wanted even more release, so they're all half a bar essentially, and they're all equidistant from each other over those 4 bars. So it sounds like this. Right, and so now if I upload this into the Digitakt, I'll be able to perform those chords with a slice machine. I'll be able to p-log each chord at different intervals. I can reorder them however I want. It's very practical since the Digitakt is a monophonic sampling machine, it's very practical for chords of that nature. And for my last sample kit, quote unquote, I used the Togu Audio Line Bassline 101, which is, I love that plugin, I use it everywhere. And it's a great SH101 type simulation, there's a poly mode, but in this case I just played single notes, and since I want to stay in the multiples of 8 or 4 even, I played 16 notes across an octave and then some. There's only 12 notes in a whole octave, and so I started with C, and then did C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, so on and so forth until I reached 16 notes, which I think, if I'm correct, it ends on math is hard, y'all. Yeah, it ends on D sharp, right? Yeah, that's D sharp. And so I played them at equidistant interval with the legato, you know, like one note ends and this next note starts immediately after, and so it's gonna sound horrible like that. But now I have basically a full mono synth on my Digitakt, and I can play each slice as a different note essentially, and it's not gonna repitch. If I want the high def quality of like a mono synth without having to pitch every note, I don't know if I'm making sense, but like if I use only one sample to play it chromatically, it will change the pitch of that sample rather than play an actual high def note. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, you can work like that also. And you can still, you know, pitch the whole sample down if I want to make a bass sound, or if I want to make an upper octave higher lead sound, that also works. And then I can loop each slice so that I can play those notes as long as I want. So here we are. I loaded those samples into the Digitakt, and I'm gonna set each track that I want to use as a slice machine. And as you remember, the first drums were set to 16 samples. So now I set the slice grid to 16. And if I set, if I set the keyboard fold, now the 16 keys should be playing each sample individually. And it's working. Let's do the same with those piano chords. Set the machine to slice mode. I had 8 chords, so I set the slice grid to 8. So the first 8 keys are now playing the 8 samples that I put in that one sample slot. Now going back to the same as the other samples, I'm gonna slice that SH101 simulation, and I had 16 notes, and so now it is indeed playing the 16 notes that I put in that sample. And there you go. That's it for today. I hope this was helpful, fun, informative. I released a free sample pack recently that includes some of those samples that I demonstrated today and some more. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Live long and prosper.